Welcome, and thank you for joining me as we explore another fascinating avenue on the path of the seeker. In this video, we will continue to explore the Kabbalah tree of life. Today, we are exploring the Sephiroth Tiphareth. This Sephiroth is associated with the solar plexus, the area just below the rib cage. This is technically considered the sixth Sephiroth, but on our upward path of ascension, this is the fifth, and it is extremely important. Once you hit this point, you will be transformed forever. Tiphareth translates into English as beauty. This Sephiroth is at the center of the pillar of equilibrium, and it balances the entire structure. Marcus Katz gives this a creepy-sounding name, the hub of sacrifice. This Sephiroth is also the mediating intelligence. This fascinating Sephiroth is complex. I had to really boil the information down to create this video. I have multiple links in the description box below on topics that just wouldn't fit into this video, as I want to focus on what this Sephiroth means to you in particular. There will be hints in this video only to give you the flavor of the ideas involved. We are going to start off with a beautiful passage Rav Michael relates in the Path of the Kabbalah. This is the third day of creation, which correlates to this Sephiroth. Water gathers over the heavens and the earth is exposed. A part of the earth appears under water. After the correction performed through water, the earth becomes suitable for life to evolve on it. It combines the properties of heaven and earth. This highly symbolic passage is an alchemical description of how self-awareness occurs. Out of the chaotic watery mind stuff of Binah arises the salt of the earth. The passage continues, life cannot exist when there is only water, just as it cannot exist in a completely dry land. The corrections of one's soul are built through finding the right combination of water and earth. Lateman explains that water is the attribute of giving and earth is the attribute of reception. So we must find the balance between heaven and earth. He goes on to explain, the correction is called the middle lane. The middle line is what we must create in order to choose life. Here we have a reference to the middle pillar of the tree of life, which he says we must create. It does not already exist within us, but has to be built, as he explains. One must take the exact amount of water and earth to produce the tree of life. Dion Fortune describes it this way. We must give as well as receive, and we must give unreservedly if we would participate in the mystical union. And then she goes on to quote Matthew 23:11. Let him who would be the greatest among you be the servant of all. Here, in order to proceed further, we must find a balance between being in a giving mode, as often we are in prayer, and the receptive mode that we find in meditation. To create this Sephiroth in ourselves, we must find balance. John Van Auken shares this powerful Edgar Cayce quote on this subject. Keep on equal balance in the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of the body. To be sure, it is necessary for normal physical functioning. The same should apply to the mental, and also to the spiritual aspects, for they are one. Keep a normal balance, not being an extreme in any direction, whether in diet, exercise, spirituality, or morality. But in all, let there be a coordinated influence. For every phase of the physical, mental, and spiritual life is dependent upon the other. They are one. As the center of the tree of Tiphareth acts as a crossroads between the Sephiroth above and below it. This is where we meet our higher self, and later we unite with our higher self. This is the sacred marriage so often symbolized in myth and symbol that Joseph Campbell identified as a crucial part of the hero's journey. As I said, Marcus Katz refers to this as the hub of sacrifice, but really it is the hub of transmutation. Here we are purified and transformed spiritually. Lateman does a beautiful job of explaining it this way. A spiritual individual feels the entire creation. Such a person identifies with his or her eternal soul, not the transient body, considering the self, the soul, and the body as mere clothing. The transition from sympathizing with the body is a totally psychological translation, and occurs to the extent that one acquires the properties of Binah. Binah is that watery mind stuff that I keep referring to, and is at the top of the pillar of severity. Dion Fortune explains that this level experience is only understood by emotional responses to universal symbols we have come to understand as we ascended the tree of life. Marcus Katz puts it this way. This is the transcendence from self-identification to universal identification. Powerful stuff. Dion Fortune explains, Tiphareth is forever trying to reunite with the supernals on the other side of the void that was created by the fall. The fall separated the lower 7 Sephiroth from the higher 3. When we have built this Holy of Holies within our mind, we can then experience the illumination of our consciousness, without the thunderbolt that initiated our awakening. However, this is a bit of a process in and of itself, because at first we just get a little taste. There is enough of a flash to convince us of the reality of superphysical existence, but not enough to teach us anything of its nature. Dion Fortune explains, this is not the mount, but the manger. In other words, here we are spiritually reborn. Realizing that we are not our physical body, we finally identify with our soul. This Sephiroth can also be symbolized as the anvil. The spiritual experience of this Sephiroth is the vision of the harmony of things. Once our conscious mind and our higher self, our soul, unites, we start to see the world clearly. The symbolic language of the soul can be translated. Dion Fortune continues to illuminate the subject. The cutting off of our spiritual nature is due to mental attitudes. When we refuse to acknowledge our part in nature, it inhibits the free flow of life-giving energy. Health is impossible. Repression has its roots in a false spirituality, which has cut off the gratitude of the living creature from the giver of life. Well, that draws this video to a close. If you are hungry for more information, you can click on those blog links in the description box below. As wonderful as this Sephiroth is, there is surprisingly more to come. We have 2 more Sephiroth on the Tree of Life to explore. Thank you, brave soul, for joining me on the Path of the Seeker. May you find joy and peace on this journey.